Hello, today we're looking at the Corona chorus pedal and creating the chorus vibe tone print. We've already created this tone print for the flashback delay, and that's a fairly in-depth tutorial, so we're going to try and whip through this one a bit quicker. The flashback's almost the same, apart from switching off the delay part of the pedal. Let's have a listen to the sounds on this. It's a fairly flexible tone print in that it can pull out a few different sounds. This is my clean tone. Switch on the pedal. That's a traditional slow vibrato. A bit faster. Up to crazy speed. If we increase the depth, start getting a richer chorusy feel. So that's a chorus vibe kind of thing. We turn the speed down again. It's a usable flangey kind of chorus. It's obviously flange on it if you switch on an overdrive pedal. Not everybody's cup of tea, but it's there as well. And then if we switch the depth back to about 11 o'clock, we can get a passable, slow, or fast Leslie kind of sound. Right, so let's have a look at building the template for that, the tone print. So we're going to start with a new tone print, and I'll just step through the settings I've got here because I've got so many other tone prints already set up. So what you want to do is load something like the tri-chorus, for example, and then you want to switch kill dry on. That's going to kill the original signal so that we get a we step away from that chorus sound. We don't have the original signal going through. Everything is going to be affected. We want to use tri-chorus as the modulation type. We're going to have modulation active on. We're going to set our zero through zero flanger to 0. The speed, don't worry about that. That'll change as we change the knobs. The depth is also going to change with the speed of with the change of the knob, so we're not going to worry about depth 1 and depth 2. Depth 3 we're going to put at 0%. The high cut, if you are using a full-size Corona chorus like this, you can have the tone knob in there, which will change the high cut. If you're using a 2 knob or a mini Corona chorus, you'll want to set this to what you want to keep it as. So I would probably say just keep it all in unless you feel like it's too bright, and then alter your tone print to just slightly put a little bit of high cut off, but something around 5 or 6 kilohertz would be a good kind of starting point for that. Mix is at 100%. The output level is at 0 dB all the way up. The delay time is going to be set at 0.1 millisecond for delay time 1. Delay time 2 is going to get changed, so we're not going to bother setting that yet because it's going to change as we fiddle with the pedal. I'm pretty sure that's the only time we change that. Yep. And delay time 3 we're also going to have set as 1 millisecond. Set the feedback to 0 and put your feedback high cut to the full setting of 20 kilohertz. Right, let's have a look at the knob selections. We'll start with the speed knob. Now we have our minimum speed at 1 hertz, which is 1 cycle per second. So let's just listen to that. So that sounds an okay speed for me as far as a minimum. You may want to go slower, but I don't know if that's going to be really that usable, to be honest. Unless you really, really want to use that chorusy flange sound and you want it slowed down by that. But I feel like that's a good starting point anyway. So just stepping through those settings, we've got minimum of 1 hertz per second. And then on the second position at 10 o'clock-ish, we have 2.9 hertz, 3.87 hertz at the mid position, 6.9 hertz at the fourth position, and then 10 hertz for the final position all the way around. So this is the range we're getting with those. That's first position. Next position. About halfway. 6.9 or about 7 hertz. And then all the way around to 10. So the main usable range is kind of from about 9 to 3. Okay, so that's everything for the first knob. Let's move on to the depth knob. So the first thing we're going to set up is the chorus depth 1. So there's an unusual little scoop here where it starts higher than this on the first setting than on the second setting. There's a reason for that. It's so that when we're using this, if we turn it down to this point of about 10 o'clock or whatever it is, then we're going to actually hit 1%, which is our minimum depth. The reason why I've done that is that's the crossover point where we go from multiple voices to a single voice vibrato. I'll tell you what I mean by that by showing you the sound. So down here, it's a little bit richer, but only a single depth. And then once we cross that 1% point here, we start getting a chorusy type effect. So let's work out why it's doing that. It's actually because of depth 2, which starts off at 0, and then after that second point it starts adding in as well. So for that first part of the range in here, we're just using the single voice. We only have one depth set, which gives us that very traditional kind of sound. And then once we cross this point, we add in another bit of depth where we get that chorus vibe kind of sound. Okay, so let's step through the settings for these. So for the second knob, the depth knob, first parameter setting, we have 2.6 as the starting value. Then on the second position, we have 1.0%, then 2 points back up to 2.6, up to 3.6, and then all the way up to 6.2. That may be more than you'll ever use, but I tend to find a point that I think I'll never go past there and then just push it a little bit more just in case I need it one day. So, but feel free to tailor these as much as you want. Okay, so on the second parameter here, the second setting for the depth knob, the chorus depth 2, we're going to have in our positions, first position we have 0, second position we also have 0, so just drag everything down to the bottom for those. The next one we have 1% at the middle position. So once we turn past this point, so about here, we're adding in tiny amount. If you look at that depth 2 parameter up here, that's going to slowly start increasing in tiny steps until it makes it up to 1% at 12 o'clock. And then we keep going all the way up for position 4, 3.6, and the fifth position, 6.2. They're in line with that first depth, so they start tracking the same way. And then for the last parameter for this knob, we actually use the chorus delay time 2. So this one is giving us more depth, and I'll set it. It starts off at 0.1 milliseconds, which is the minimum, 0.1 again for that second position, so that delay time 2 is almost transparent, and then it starts increasing that, and that gives us a bit more depth to the sound as well. There's a bit more spacing between the two voices there. Let me show you all the differences. It's kind of subtle, but it's there. So if we turn that up, and then if I kill the delay time just manually, space and life to it there. It just gives that extra little bit of richness there, so that when we're dialing that depth in, it actually shows up. So the settings we've got across there from the delay time too, just going through that again, is 0.1 milliseconds for the second one, 1.6 milliseconds for the third setting, 3.2 for the fourth setting, and 3.2 for the fifth setting. So it sort of ramps up a little bit in the middle there, and then it just tops off. Now if you have the Chorus Mini pedal, that's it, you're done. That's all there is on this. If you have the full-size Corona Chorus pedal, where you still have the tone knob to use, this is where you can roll in the high cut. So the settings we've got for that, when it's rolled all the way down, you'll get everything cut off down to 100 hertz. So that's very, very healthy amount of roll off there. So this is what that'll sound like. Possibly more than you need to, but so that's down to 100 hertz, 1 kilohertz at that second position, 5.6, it's sounding almost all there, 10 kilohertz in that 2 o'clock position, and then everything in at the final position. So just skipping across there again on those 5 settings is 100 hertz, 1 kilohertz, 5.6 kilohertz, 10 kilohertz, and 20 kilohertz. The reason why I chose this middle one, why everything else is sort of bang on 0, is it just made the curve look about right to me, and sounded like nothing was really obviously missing if I was just had that at the 12 o'clock position, but it wasn't too overly bright. Okay, so that's the whole thing. Store that once you've done that. If you are playing with the tone and you do have the 2-knob chorus, and you do want to put in a high cut, set it before you save it, and then that'll be set for that Toneprint, and obviously you can't change that once it's in there. The other thing I wanted to mention was the effects level. You notice that I've got that set all the way up. So the problem there is, because we are using the kill dry to set us on, that's eating the normal signal that the effect is usually laid over the top of. So we actually do have quite a severe loss when we switch the pedal on if we have it, say, in a normal kind of position, like about here. So it's okay at around sort of 2 o'clock, maybe 3 o'clock. But I think it's a much healthier sounding output, diming that all the way. So up to you where you want to put that, but you should expect to have to crank it a little bit if you're using this particular thing. It depends on where you have your effects level normally anyway. But so that's the whole thing. I hope you enjoy that, and if you have any questions or suggestions about that, please put it in the comments. I'd love to hear how to develop this any further, or if you're enjoying using it. Have fun. Here's an overview of all the settings for this Toneprint. I'll put a link in the description of where you can download the image. If you found this video tutorial helpful, click the thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click subscribe. Thanks for watching.